Hey everybody, Mark over here at Twanger's Turntable. I hope you're all doing well. Jumping back on here as promised, or at least suggested in my last video, that there was another thread I want to jump on, or challenge if you will. And so that's why I'm here. If you're new to my channel, I hope you find something you'll dig and you'll stick around. Thanks for dropping by. If you're returning, as always, I much appreciate all the support. That's very kind of you to indulge me while I enjoy showing some records as we do here in the vinyl community. So yeah, as I alluded to, if you saw my other videos where I was alluding to jumping on another thread, it's not a prerequisite. You don't have to see it. It's for Simon over at, what is he? Return to Vinyl. Jeez, had to do a double take there. Simon over at Return to Vinyl, he had a challenge or thread of 444. I believe it's called. It is indeed 444 VC challenge. So essentially, Simon, I've seen many of these videos, and you know, this is going back to probably 3 weeks ago. So I'm a little late to the party, but I wanted to jump on it anyway. It just sounded like a fun thread. 4 albums by 4 artists or bands, and so let's get to it. Before we do that, though, as we always do, or we try to do, we'll wish everyone well and have a cheers before we get going. Wet our whistle. There we go. Now we're set. So Simon being over in the UK, I'm not sure exactly where, but I did see a little short video by Adele about, I think, Tottenham. I don't even know if I said that right. So I'm going to assume it's in that neck of the woods, or at least he's a fan. So some of these may not be familiar, all that well known, because I decided to go with all Canadian artists, 4 bands, 4 artists. And I would suggest there's at least a couple you may have heard of. I would be surprised if you hadn't heard of any of them, but hey, different strokes for different folks, whatever floats your boat. So let's get going. And I'm going to start with, they're all bands that I grew up listening to and are, with the exception of one, I would suggest 3 of them for sure are still favorites of mine, and one more nostalgic. But anyway, let's get to it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Got to put my cheaters on. Now we're loaded and ready. First up, Just a Game from Triumph. It's going to glare like crazy. Sorry about that. I'm not taking these all out of the sleeves. But yeah, 1979, probably best known for Lay It on the Line, but just a great band. Great album. I was going to start at the beginning of all these bands' discography where they started, and then just go chronological. I did go chronological, but not from their debut on. Biggest reason for that is a couple of them I had shown recently, so just trying to change it up a little bit, at least for my own entertainment purposes, if nothing else. So Just a Game, Triumph, 1979. And then, of course, after that came Progressions of Power, 1980. I'll just name probably most popular tracks. Weekend is a damn good track on here. They're all good tracks, so I'm biased when I say this. But yeah, I Live for the Weekend would be the best. Well, the most well-known. On the sleeve, it's actually titled as I Live for the Weekend, Side A. On the actual vinyl, it's shortened to just Weekend. I don't know if they're all like that, but certainly my copy has always been that way. And then, of course, Allied Forces, 1981. Magic Power is a big one that was on here. Not necessarily my favorite one. I like Fight the Good Fight. Allied Forces is a ripper. I love that one. But again, I am admittedly quite biased. I love everything by Triumph. So, and I love that album cover. I mean, come on. Hard to top that one. Next up, not even one of my favorite ones, but just because I decided the 4 that I do pick are going to be chronological. So Never Surrender would be the next one up from 1982. Pretty cool album art too, but I see, by doing this, I have to admit Thunder 7, which is one of my favorites. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. So yeah, this would be Never Surrender is a fantastic tune. But just was never one of their stronger ones for me. And then after Thunder 7, of course, what was it? A King. I forget what it is. I just never got into that one. So let's get back to the ones I do have. I had that on cassette, but it doesn't matter. That's the first 4 from Triumph. Next up, this is the one I thought maybe would not be quite so well known, but we go over with their debut, Meanwhile, Back in Paris, and it's Streetheart. Of course, this probably, the title track on here, Meanwhile, Back in Paris, the lead-off song, Action, is where the title of that song comes from. Rest in peace, Kenny Shields, the vocalist for this band. He passed away in 2017. But a fantastic album, in my humble opinion. But that would probably be the most popular tune on here for those who have heard this album, would be Action. And it is a great tune. So that's their, and these are chronological order. That is their debut. Next came Under Heaven, Over Hell. Fantastic album. There is a couple of versions of this one. One of the other versions, they did a Rolling Stones cover, Under My Thumb, which was a very popular track for them. But they also do a cover here of Here Comes the Night, and that was by them back in the 60s. This copy does not have Under My Thumb by the Stones, and this was actually produced by another famous musician from Nazareth, Manny Charlton. Back in the day, he produced this album, 1979. And this was also the last album to have Matt Fournette on drums. He would go over to Loverboy, he would leave and form Loverboy. Also with, what was his name? Dean, the guitar player from the first album here. It's probably on the credits. I'm going way deeper than I intended to do here, but it just crossed my mind. So yeah, Paul Dean, he also left after this album, their debut, and then Matt Fournette left after this album. They would end up forming Loverboy out of Calgary, Alberta. But I just showed that one of my last videos. Next up, Streetheart. Of course, it's Streetheart. Drugstore Dancer, and this one would have been from 1980. They self-produced this one. Another one where they did a cover, Tin Soldier of. It was originally done by. Small Faces, Steve Marriott, Humble Pie, but they did what I consider a great cover. It would be blasphemy to some, I'm sure, but yeah, I always dug Streetheart, and like I say, not one that's big in my if I was to rate my favorite artists, I don't know where they'd rank, but it wouldn't be high on the list because I tend to go towards more hard rock metal. And then closing out the 4 on Streetheart is the self-titled, which reminds me of another thread that's happening right now. This came out in 1982, probably best known for What Kind of Love Is This, Snow White, Look in Your Eyes, One More Time. And again, it was self-produced. Side 2 on this is where all those songs come from. It's a strong side 2 album. But yeah, and one might think I got this from our buddy MGK Boston. Kelly's. Mike, you did not send that to me. Just a pretty cool inner sleeve, though, I think you would agree. But yeah, good album. 1982 on that one. Next up, these are the 2 bands I think are probably most likely you've heard of. Well, I would think Triumph too, but I don't know. Whatever floats your boat, like I said. The debut, Rush. John Rutsey on drums on this one, the only album he appeared on. Rest in peace, he passed away in 2008. But a very solid debut, heavy debut from Rush. If you know it, you know it. If you don't know it, I would certainly suggest checking it out. Good heavy album. Next up in their discography, of course, is Fly By Night, and this is where Neil comes on, and from this point on, he's basically the lyricist. He writes most of the lyrics, like 95% of the lyrics. A little bit of thrown in there with Lifeson and Geddy Lee from time to time, but pretty much it's all Neil Peart at this point from 1975 on. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I don't know why it cut off. Well, I do know why it cut off now. I guess I was running out of data on my phone. Not data, memory. I had too many other videos stored on there, so I had to jump off and delete them. Well, I didn't have to jump off, but it cut me off, so I was forced to jump off and delete them. So, yeah, there's a little slice in there, but now you know why. Sorry about that. Let's get back to it. Where was I? I was at Caress of Steel. So this followed Fly By Night, and this is where Rush is full on progressive rock. I mean, essentially that's the route that Rush had gone on this. So this comes out in September of '75 and was not received that well, certainly by the record company. I know there's since then, I think many Rush fans think of this album as it's very endearing. I mean, this is where they become, in my opinion, and I think that's shared by many, like I say, progressive rock, and it's kind of the genesis of what you would hear on later albums. But because it wasn't that well received, and they went out on tour, and it was basically known as the Down the Tubes tour, because they were essentially told that if they didn't come out with something better than this on their follow-up, then it was over. They were done. And as far as the guys were concerned, that seemed like the writing was on the wall, you know. So, but anyway, yeah, it's a fantastic album. All of side 2 is basically the Fountain of Lamneth. If you've not heard it, and you do like, I know the vocals for some are hard. Geddy Lee's vocals are hard to get into. It's never been a problem for me. I mean, I like Priest. I like that, you know, so it doesn't bother me. But I know it's like sandpaper for some, or whatever. But nails on a chalkboard maybe is better. But yeah, the whole side 2, Fountain of Lamneth, 19 minutes 57 seconds. It's just an incredible prog rock album, in my humble opinion. So yeah, 1975. That's third out of their 4x4, and last, of course, if you know the discography of Rush, it's 2112, and totally redeemed themselves. Not to me, but and initially not to the record company either. They thought, oh no, not this again, because it's very much the same formula as Caress of Steel, but they happen to have a couple of songs, thankfully on side 2, that they could salvage and play on the radio, because 2112 at over 20 minutes long certainly was not. This was also the first, this is when they would tour Europe for the first time, supporting this album, and the live album that would come out, All the World's a Stage, was recorded during this tour in Toronto at the Massey Hall, 3 nights in Massey Hall in June. Were all recorded on this tour, 2112. This is kind of what broke them. Of course, they would break much bigger years later with Moving Pictures, but this is what kind of kept them going with the record company, and it's a fantastic album. So that ends the 4x4 on Rush. Last but certainly not least, one of my favorite bands ever since I was a kid. Again, on here, I didn't start with their debut, and the reason I didn't start with their debut is I wanted to cut off at arguably one of my favorites by them. The last 2 that I show here are kind of neck and neck. But anyway, let's go with April Wine. So this came out in 1971. So this is their debut. I apologize. This is their debut, 1971. Probably best known for Fast Train on it. Just a fantastic album. And these came in that resealable sleeve, so I'm certainly not going to take these out. I do have these on other formats, and some older records that are in not as good shape, but I do tend to play those more unless I really want a good clean sound from my vinyl. I do pull them out and listen to them. It's on that nice purple vinyl on that Aquarius label, so very nice record. Next up, this is where it kind of jumps this discography, the chronological order. Electric Jewels. So I'm skipping the On Record. On Record would have been the one that came after their debut. But Electric Jewels, this is the one that Jerry Mercer comes on for drums, which was a childhood inspiration for me as a drummer, wannabe drummer, and Gary Moffat. Electric Jewels, 1972, fantastic album. Third, fourth, now this is where it gets, like I say, my favorite April Wine album. This is on any given day, it could be this one, Stand Back, 1975, incredible album. Love this album. It's like I say, the one that when I go to grab an April Wine, it's either this one or the next one I show more often than not. I like their whole catalog for the most part. But yeah, when this came out in 1975, I would have been just a kid, but my older brothers thankfully had it on either 8-track or vinyl. I don't remember, but fantastic album. And yeah, if you've not heard it, certainly one I would recommend. And then this one, I remember my older brother, one older brother in particular, playing this thing ad nauseum, whether it was in the house, in the car, wherever. And yeah, it's The Whole World's Going Crazy. That would be the next in their catalog. 1976. Yeah, this was basically the first record ever to go platinum in Canada, just with pre-sales, pre-orders, before it was even released. Advanced sales of this album made it go platinum. They were the first band to ever do that in Canada. And that's saying something, because this is 1976, and you already had the likes of the Guess Who and whatnot that were, you know, quite big. This is an original one with the embossed cover or whatnot. But yeah, that's On Any Given Day, also my favorite album. So that's it. That's my 4 for 4 challenge, Simon. I hope you dug that one and met your criteria. If there was something there you weren't familiar with, bonus. But I decided to go all Canadian stuff since I am here in Canada. And yeah, everyone, if you enjoyed that, let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment. Any of these albums mean anything to you at all? I'm not sure how many of these would be that well known outside of our borders. Like I say, I'm fairly certain Rush would be fairly well known. I know Triumph is in certain parts of the U.S., but globally, I'm not sure. Streetheart might be a stretch, but yeah, April Wine. I mean, that too is very prominent. I see that mentioned quite often. Well, not quite often, but enough to know that it resonates in other parts of the world. So, cheers, everybody. It was a lot of fun on this one, Simon. I've enjoyed all the other videos I've seen regarding this challenge. Now, just as I thought I was getting through these threads and challenges, I just saw another one that I think I might have to hop on. We'll see. But I am going to get back to my Nobody's Vault But Mine, and showing some of my vinyl that I picked up that I hadn't shown yet, my show and tell, if you will. So that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you again soon here at Twanger's Turntable. Cheers, everybody.